Hey everyone, Jerry here. I am home in Pennsylvania and have been working on a little project I thought you might be interested in. I got a few sweaters at a flea market yesterday and wool sweaters, and I decided to felt them last night and I'm deconstructing them. So I'm going to show you how to can you say that? Show you how to deconstruct a sweater. We're going to be out on the porch doing the sweater, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of my yard and my home life here in Pennsylvania. So that will be at the very end. So if you are not interested in that, you'll see once I show you a pile of sweaters, you can stop watching, because then the rest of it is some stuff in my yard. So I just came across this. I had to show it to you. I came across, and this video might be a little long, so get yourself a cup of coffee or something and sit and just hang out with me for a little bit. I've really missed you, and I know you've missed me. So I took this, let's start over. I bought this picture from this young girl, very young girl. She was in high school. Many years ago, I was at an art show here in Pennsylvania I used to go to all the time. Brian and I vended there, and I always support young artists, always. And so I saw this and I just had to get it. But every time I see it, I have to giggle and not. So that's what I felt like the last few weeks, and that's why I bought it, because sometimes, you know, you just go through something and this is how you feel. And the girl did it, I don't know how it's created. I think she did it on a computer, but it looks like, honestly, what it looks like, show it to you again, it looks like she put a blurb of paint down and then scribbled out fingers and stuff. Can you see that? Isn't it wonderful? Oh, I love it. And I got to put it in a picture frame. It's just in a mat right now, and I had it hanging up in my art room in the other house, and I don't know, maybe you think it's depressing. I don't know. I love it. So enough of that. Let's get on with the video, and I'll show you how I deconstruct a sweater. And yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. And then I have a project I'm going to show you after I deconstruct the sweater. That's why this is long. I'll show you the projects that I'm working on and talk to you a little bit about that. And yeah, I can't think of anything else, so let's get to it. Well, I just started working on something, and I thought I would turn the camera on and show you what I'm doing. So I went to the flea market yesterday with Brian, and I'm home in Pennsylvania, and I found 2 wool sweaters there and purchased them. So I came home, soaked them in hot water. I have talked about this before, how I do my felting, but I will tell you again so you don't have to go back and look for that video. You wash it in hot water. So this was a bigger sweater, right? And it's already felted. I put soap in. I have a top loader. Now, if you don't have a top loader, what I suggest you do is get a bucket and put really hot water in there and some soap, and let it sit and kind of stir it around and stir it around, but it's got to be really hot. If your water isn't super hot coming out of the spigot, then I would suggest that you boil some water. Put it in a bucket, put some soap, add your stuff, swish it around. You're pretending that it's in a washing machine, and then just let it sit until the water cools. Then put it in your front loader. Now, if you have a top loader, which is what I have an old-fashioned top loader that I hope will never break, because I love those machines. Anyway, mine is old-fashioned. You can leave it open it up in the middle. It doesn't have that lock thing on it. That's what I'm talking about, an old-fashioned one. Sidebar. So what I do is I fill up my basin in my washing machine with hot water, put some soap in it, and I add the items in there. And I don't really worry about the colors of them. You could. So this gray sweater has a little bit of red fuzz on it because I also felted something red. So if you want to be really fussy, then keep your colors, your darks and whatnot separate. I don't worry about that. I let it swish around. As soon as I hear it done swishing, I turn the dial back around, let it swish around again. So I let it do that thing twice, and then I let it drain and rinse. And then I take it out, and if it looks like it's, shrunk and it looks good, then I put it in the dryer. And sometimes you might have to do that twice in the washing machine, but most of the time you don't. All right, now that you've got it felted, what are you going to do with it? So I think I'm going to just move you down a hair so you can see me a little better. So you might not be able to see my head as well, but I think it's more important for you to see what I'm doing. All right, I turn it inside out so that I could get to the seams. And the first thing I do is I look for, does it have side seams? So this one does, okay? Here's the sleeve. And I'm gonna cut up the seam. Right along, you see that lump there? The seam, it's the seam. I'm gonna cut right alongside that lump because I am going to cut that lump out. And no, I am not going to throw it away. I'm going to save it for another project. So I'm very careful about how I cut it. I want to cut it all the way to the top. And you might be wondering why I'm outside. Wool, it's a lot of fuzzy stuff and it goes up my nose. And I have allergies and whatnot. I probably have no business playing with this, but there's no way I'm giving it up. So I just do it outside. So now I've gone up the side seam. Here's the piece that I told you, the seam. And so now I'm following that up around the sleeve of the sweater. So I basically deconstruct, and I'm going right into I went right into the shoulder seam. So this is like a raglan sleeve. So now I'm left with, you see the neck? And of course, every sweater is different, but basically you're gonna follow these same way of doing this. This happens to be a V-neck, so I'm just gonna go around the V. So what I'm actually doing is separating the cuffs, the ribbing, the neckline, whatever, from the flat part. Now here's a label, and believe it or not, I try to save the labels, but not at the, I don't want to wreck my sweater. So if I have to wreck my sweater to save the label, then I'm just going to cut the label off and not worry about it. Okay, I'll go back and pick those stitches off. So let's see, cut, cut, cut. All right, I generally go to the thrift store too. Here I am. I generally go to the thrift store too. Here's the neckline. And I go in the spring, in the late spring, because that's when they're giving this stuff away. They do not want to carry this stuff over the winter. So, and I was just fortunate enough to see it. So at the flea market, they usually have like these big piles of clothes like thrown on a blanket, and I can't bend down and look through all of them. I mean, sometimes there's these huge piles. I should have taken pictures yesterday when I was there, but it was really hot and it was busy. And I couldn't maneuver my camera and walk around. So sorry I didn't take pictures for you. I'll try to do that next time. I purchased one of those things to hook the phone on me, hands-free, so I'll be playing with that this week. Anyway, they have these piles of clothes. So what I started doing is I just go up to the people and say, do you think you have any wool sweaters in there? And, you know, sometimes they'll just shake their head no right away. And then this one lady said, actually two people, because this was from two different booths. She said, you know, I think so. I might. I have a couple sweaters in there. I'm not 100% sure if they're wool or not. Sure enough. So now I'm just cutting along the seams. I'm going to stand up and show you in a second. You might need to clean your scissors from all the wool dust. Just wipe the blades off with some alcohol. So you see this beautiful flat piece of cloth that I got? I can't even tell which is the inside and which is the outside, although you can see a little red fuzz on it. I do have a lint brush. I can kind of rub that off, but now there's still the ribbing on the bottom. So you can cut that off, you can leave it. I generally cut it off because I'll use the ribbing for something different. So if I was going to cut a square out of this, I would not cut part of the ribbing and part of the sweater. I would just cut one or the other. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I have cut it both ways, with and without the ribbing. It really just depends on how thick and how loose the ribbing is, whether I use it or not in the same cutout. So I am going to cut the bottom off this. Just because of that reason. The ribbing, it just, you know, depending on the sweater, some of the ribbing is really different. So there's the ribbing. Okay, so we have that with the collar. And now I do the same thing, so that's what I got from the front. So I'm going to do the same thing with the sleeve, which is still, you can see, is still attached. And I am trying not to cut this. That's the seam. I'm trying not to wreck that. So I see here, this is the side seam, and it goes all the way up the sleeve. So I'm just going to cut all the way up the sleeve so that I have this straight piece. So I see the cuffs also have the ribbing, so I'll have to cut that off too. So now I have to just cut up the other side so that I have this long string there. So I'm doing two things. I'm getting myself a nice clean piece of flat straight cloth that's been felted. That's super lovely. And I'm also getting this wonderful long, here we go, long string. I just love this. Now you can use this for so many things because it's a seam, it's fairly sturdy, and I have a plan for it. All right, so I'm just going to set it aside for now, and this is the sleeve, you see? So I'll cut the ribbing off, and then I'll go around the seam right there, and let's just do it together because it's a beautiful day and you want to spend some time with me. So as I said, we went to the flea market yesterday. It was so fun. I haven't been there in so many months. It's a huge flea market. I couldn't even begin to guess how many vendors are there. Brian could probably tell me. And he was surprised. He said, wow, he said, there seems to be a lot of different people, because he goes every week. It is literally 5 minutes from here. We are up. You hear how quiet it is here? We are up on a hill. I'd love to show you, but there's still a lot of trees and stuff, you can really see the hill, the mountain, when we go in the back. Maybe I'll turn the camera off and go in the back and show you. There's still a lot of leaves on the trees, so you really can't see as far, but I put a few clips at the end of the video if you want to see the yard. So now I'm just going to keep cutting this and get all the seams off, and then I'll get the ribbing off, and that'll be amazing. All right, so that's the gray one. I'll get back to that in a minute. I got this brown one, which I already started cutting up when I thought, oh, I better turn the camera on. Turn the camera on. So this brown one, the sleeves are ribbed. So I love that. I'll use that for something, but I will cut it off. And same thing with the side seams. I'll do the same thing. And this one has this zipper in the front. So I'll very carefully cut around this zipper. And I'll save the zipper because you never know what I'll use it for. I won't use it for a zipper again, but I might use it for something else. And cut the collar off. And this collar feels like it is folded in half, and it is. So once I cut it apart, I can open it up and get double for my money. All right, let me show you another item that I got. So this is a vest. And this is the red culprit that got little red fuzz all over the rest of the stuff. Now, I could do it one of two ways. I could cut all this stuff off first, but you know, I'm lazy and I wanted to get it in the washing machine right away. So I felted it first, and now I'm going to cut it. But you can see, well, can you see? Yeah. So I'll have to go around and I'll cut these off, and then I'll carefully cut the pocket off because there is, see back there? I'll try to unpick that. And that probably, yeah, I can see the thread there. So that probably would have been better off if I had done it prior to the felting. Learn from me. What do they say? Do as I say, not as I do. I think they say something like that. Yeah, that's what I used to tell my kids. I'm a rotten mother. All right, so that's the sweaters. I'm going to cut them apart. I'll show you what I got. Oh, no, wait. I got another one. I forgot. I found one down in the warehouse that hadn't been felted. It was down there. So this sweater was huge. Isn't it great? I wish I could find some more yellow stuff. So this one's going to be super easy to do too, because it doesn't have a lot of magagi on it, and it just has like a rolled cuff. So even though it's just a rolled cuff, it's not a seam, I will cut that off and use it as a strip. You know, I'll use like these strips. They're wonderful. Okay, so let's look at the inside of this puppy, because this is a raglan sleeve too. I especially love it. Let me stand back here. I especially love it when the sweater has like argyles on it or something, or a pattern, because when you felt that, so don't be afraid to use a sweater that has a pattern. When you felt it and you cut little pieces out of it, you can't see what it was. So even if it's some weird, you know, thing, a Santa or something, once you cut it up, you can't generally see unless you're going to use big pieces. So here's the inside of this. So you see, there's the side seam. And just if you're not 100% sure about the content of a sweater when you see it, I can feel it now because I'm used to shopping for them. But if there's no label, because a lot of times people take the labels out. Now this one says 100% lamb's wool, but if there is no label, look on the inside side seam. It's usually in there. And if it says dry clean only, you can make a good assumption that it says, this one says professionally dry clean only, that it is wool. So if it's cheap enough, I would take a chance on it, bring it home, and wash it and see what happens. So I'm going to cut these apart because now I've shown you how to do that. You don't need to see me do this one. And some of them are thicker than others. And they're just so lovely to use in your work. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I've been working on something since I came home the other day. So I'm going to go take the camera around the back and show you the mountains and the view. And I'd be in the back right now, but it's very hot back there. And it's not out here. Very, very nice in the front. I'll show you the front though too before we go around the back. Hold on. So here's what I'm doing with the sweaters. And the reason I'm using sweaters over just regular wool, felted wool, is because it's thicker and it just has a certain kind of a look when it's thick. So here's where I accidentally cut some of the ribbing part of the sweater, but you know, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. I don't know. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So I cut them up into 2-inch squares, and you see how thick they are. And some of them are thin, but it really doesn't matter. So this is not my original idea, just FYI. And remember I said when the sweaters have like an argyle or something on them, they get these really interesting little pieces of patterns. So I cut them up. That's what I do at night when I'm sitting watching television. And I'm going to make this. And as I said, this is not my original idea. I saw this on the internet and Pinterest. I love Pinterest. And I think it's, gosh, I can't remember her first name. Her last name is Crites, CRITES/Moore, MOORE, I believe. And gosh, I'm so sorry, I can't remember her first name. But anyway, she does a lot of this, and I've always just loved it, been attracted to it. So I thought, you know, I'll make this. Super simple. This isn't something I would do a video on because obviously it's just a square, 2 inches, with another little square, 1 inch. And I did go through my sweater stash and pick colors that were kind of muted and went with my home decor because I'm going to put it in my house. And then I'll just do, I'll get some pearl cotton and stitch these on, and I'm going to put buttons on. So I have this big, can you see the jar buttons? Yeah, see this big jar of buttons? I have tons of buttons. And so I'm going to root through there and find some buttons, you know, that I like. And I don't know, I have so many buttons. I'll just put on some interesting buttons and stitch those on with threads. I'll use all different color thread. And I'll show it to you as I work on it. And this is not the way I'm going to lay it out. I just threw it down there for you so you could see it. I'm working on another project very similar to this, but I used wool from the wool dyeing that I did. So that's just regular wool. And I'll show you that. I made a video already. I'll post that in a couple days. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this, and I just wanted to pop on and let you know that I'm still here. I'm still creating, and yeah, I'm not sure at this point, and maybe we'll have a talk another time, if I'm going to post videos on a regular basis or if I'm just going to post them as I feel like it. I'm still processing the whole burnout thing, and so yeah, that's it. So this, I'm working on a burnout, I'm calling it burnout art series. I know that sounds really goofy, but I'm just going to call it my burnout art series because I'm doing it while I'm you know, healing emotionally and mentally. So I know that sounds kind of hokey. So anyway, I know I said so about 500 times just now. I hope you enjoyed seeing how to deconstruct a sweater, and I hope you'll give it a try. And sidebar here is that I have 8,000 pounds of sweaters because I've been buying them for years. I'm going to deconstruct them and put them in my Etsy shop. So you'll be finding scraps in there when I come back from the beach. And I'll insert a picture so you can see a very small amount of the sweaters right now are on my floor in my sewing room, in my art room rather, I'm sorry. There's probably 4 big buckets full of them downstairs. Yeah, I'm a little obsessive. All right, I'm going to stop the video now. Just remember, keep moving, just play, no rules, and remember to find something to be grateful for today. I'm grateful that the weather's changed a little bit, and I'm grateful that I have all these wonderful art supplies to play with. So I'm going to say bye for now. We're in the front, and that neighbor back there has a horse, and I haven't seen him in a couple days. He's a beautiful white horse, and this neighbor is right across the street from us, and he just keeps to himself. He won't even look at us, so whatever. We have two really big nice trees out here, and we have an owl living in, I think, that one. So see, my neighbor has a split rail fence down there. We used to have a split rail fence in the front of the house. So that's where I'm going now. I don't know what the guy next door is doing. And Brian would come out, and the owl was sitting on the split rail fence. So it was right up there. And I believe he's living in this big tree. So I'll insert a picture. You can see Brian got a picture of him. And this is the front of the house, which, you remember I told you the house is 50 years old, or no, you don't remember because that's in another video. The house is over 50 years old, and so the bushes and everything about it is 50 years old. So we had to take out all the bushes. There was a whole bunch of bushes right in the front, and they were just, you couldn't see a thing. They were horrible, and there was bugs in them, and so we're gonna put something, some stone or something, some pretty stone there, and maybe I'll put some of my outside artwork. But I did want to show you my other rusty dollhouse. Okay, so some of this might not make sense, and there I am. Some of this might not, in the window, some of this might not make sense, because I've made a few videos since I've been home, and I made a video in the house, and I was showing you I collect these rusty dollhouses. Well, my collection, there's 2 dollhouses. Now this one, I'm not really sure if I'm going to do anything with it or just leave it here. It's really, really rusty, but I do love it. You'll understand when you see the other video. I love creepy babies and creepy dollhouses, and so I was going to make a creepy dollhouse out of this. Yeah, we'll see. My house is so small, I don't know that I'd have a place to put it, but I did want to show you the chairs. Brian made them, Adirondack chairs, there's 2 of them. And the bottom has a thing you can pull out down there, pull out for your legs. He's so talented. Anyway, all right, now my dogs are trying to get to the front door, but I have it blocked with a can because there's a screen there, and I'm afraid they're going to go right through the screen. That's it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my yard and a little bit, you know, about my house. I will be sharing some of my home remodeling with you this winter, and I hope you, let's turn back around. I hope you enjoy some of that. Hello, Mr. Owl. Are you up there today?